as we explore Daniel Kahneman's masterpiece, Thinking Fast and Slow. This book is a landmark achievement, offering profound insights into how we think, decide, and judge. Get ready to have your perspective on the human mind fundamentally transformed. Introduction: The Two Systems. Daniel Kahneman, a Nobel laureate in economics though he's a psychologist, revolutionized our understanding of decision-making by demonstrating that we operate with two distinct cognitive systems. System 1, the automatic pilot. System 1 is the fast, intuitive, and largely unconscious mode of thinking. It's our gut feeling, our automatic reflexes, the mental shortcuts we use to navigate the world quickly. Think about recognizing a friend's face, driving on a familiar road, or knowing that fire is hot. These are System 1 operations. It's efficient, requiring minimal effort, but it's also prone to biases and errors. Key characteristics of System 1 include automaticity. It operates without conscious control. Effortlessness. It requires little to no mental energy. Associative. It connects ideas and events based on past experiences. Emotional. It's strongly influenced by feelings and intuitions. System 2, the conscious controller. System 2 is the slow, deliberate, and effortful mode of thinking. It's our conscious reasoning, the system we engage when we focus, solve complex problems, or learn a new skill. Imagine doing a complex math problem, parking in a tight space, or deciding on a major purchase. These activities require System 2. It's more reliable and analytical, but demands mental energy and concentration. Key characteristics of System 2 include controlled. It requires conscious effort and attention. Effortful. It consumes mental resources and can lead to fatigue. Rule-based. It follows logical rules and principles. Neutral. It's less influenced by emotions. Kahneman's core argument is that we often default to System 1, even when System 2's deliberate analysis is needed. This cognitive laziness is a primary source of our errors in judgment. Part 1, The Two Systems. The first part of the book lays the groundwork by thoroughly exploring the functions and interactions of System 1 and System 2. The division of labor. Kahneman explains that System 1 and System 2 work in tandem. System 1 provides constant assessments of the environment, while System 2 monitors and intervenes when necessary. However, System 2 has limited resources. When it's depleted by mental exertion, System 1 takes over, increasing the likelihood of errors. Automatic System 1 functions. System 1 excels at tasks like detecting basic emotions, estimating distances, orienting to the source of a sudden sound, completing overrun sequences like the alphabet. The concept of Wisiati, what you see is all there is. Kahneman introduces the powerful idea that System 1 operates on the principle of Wisiati. It draws conclusions based only on the information immediately available, ignoring what it doesn't know. This leads to biases because System 1 can't account for missing information or alternative possibilities. Part 2, Heuristics and Biases. This section forms the heart of the book, detailing the various heuristics, mental shortcuts, and biases that System 1 employs, often leading to predictable errors in judgment. Heuristics explained. Heuristics are simple rules of thumb that System 1 uses to make quick decisions. They're usually helpful, but can lead us astray in complex or ambiguous situations. Key biases and heuristics. Availability heuristic. We judge the likelihood of events based on how easily they come to mind. Vivid or recent events are more readily available, causing us to overestimate their probability. Example: people often fear flying more than driving, even though driving is statistically more dangerous, because plane crashes are more heavily publicized. Representativeness heuristic. We judge the probability of an event based on how much it resembles a stereotype or prototype, ignoring base rates, actual probabilities. Example: if someone is described as quiet and organized, we might assume they're a librarian rather than a salesperson, even though there are far more salespeople. Anchoring effect. We're heavily influenced by the first piece of information offered, the anchor, even if it's irrelevant when making estimates. Example, in negotiations, the initial asking price strongly influences the final agreed upon price. Framing effect, how a problem is presented framed significantly affects our choices, even if the underlying facts are the same. Example, people are more likely to choose a surgery with a 90% survival rate than one with a 10% mortality rate, even though they're statistically equivalent. Loss aversion. We feel the pain of a loss much more intensely than the pleasure of an equivalent gain. This makes us risk-averse in many situations. Example, people are often reluctant to sell losing investments, hoping they'll recover, because the pain of realizing the loss is too great. Optimism bias and planning fallacy. We tend to be overly optimistic about our own abilities and the likelihood of success, while underestimating risks and the time required for tasks. Planning fallacy. Example, students often underestimate how long it will take to complete assignments, leading to procrastination and stress. The halo effect. Our overall impression of a person, company, or brand influences our judgments about its specific qualities. Example, if we think someone is attractive, we're also more likely to judge them as intelligent and kind. Part 3. Overconfidence and intuition. Kahneman delves into the perils of overconfidence and the complexities of intuition, the illusion of skill and validity. Experts often overestimate their ability to make accurate predictions, especially in fields with high levels of uncertainty. This illusion of skill can lead to poor decision-making. Kahneman argues that randomness plays a larger role in outcomes than we often acknowledge. Intuition, expertise versus heuristics. Kahneman distinguishes between genuine expertise-based intuition and intuition driven by heuristics. True experts develop pattern recognition over years of experience, allowing for accurate snap judgments. However, many intuitive judgments are simply System 1's heuristics at work, which can be unreliable. Narrative fallacy and hindsight bias. We tend to create coherent narratives to explain past events, even if those narratives are oversimplified or inaccurate. This narrative fallacy makes it difficult to learn from the past. Hindsight bias is the tendency to believe, after an event has occurred, that we knew it was going to happen all along. I knew it all along effect. Part 4. Choices, values, and frames. This section explores how we make choices, how we value outcomes, and how framing influences our decisions. Prospect theory revisited. Kahneman's groundbreaking prospect theory provides a descriptive model of how people actually make choices under risk and uncertainty, deviating from traditional economic assumptions of rationality. Key principles of prospect theory. Reference dependence. We evaluate outcomes relative to a reference point, often the status quo. Diminishing sensitivity. The subjective value of gains and losses decreases as their magnitude increases. For example, the difference between $10 and $20 feels larger than the difference between $1,000 and $1,010. Loss aversion. As mentioned, losses are felt more strongly than gains. The endowment effect. We tend to value things more highly simply because we own them, even if there's no objective reason for the increased value. Decision weights and probability distortion. We don't treat probabilities linearly. We tend to overrate small probabilities, for example, the chance of winning the lottery, and underweight moderate and large probabilities. Mental accounting. We tend to organize our finances into separate mental accounts, which can lead to irrational financial decisions. Part 5. To selves. Kahneman introduces the concept of the experiencing self and the remembering self, providing a new perspective on happiness and well-being. The experiencing self versus the remembering self. The experiencing self is the self that lives in the present moment and feels pain and pleasure. It answers the question, how does it feel now? The remembering self is the self that keeps score and evaluates our overall life satisfaction. It answers the question, how was it overall? Duration, neglect, and peak and rule. The remembering self is often influenced by the peak, most intense moment of an experience, and the ending, while largely neglecting the duration of the experience. This can lead to distorted memories and evaluations of events. The focusing illusion. When we think about a particular factor in our lives, for example, wealth, climate, we tend to overestimate its impact on our overall happiness. This is because we focus on that factor and neglect other important aspects of life. Conclusion, implications, and living with two minds. Kahneman concludes by emphasizing that while we can't eliminate our biases, understanding them can help us make better decisions. He discusses the implications of his work for various fields, including economics, challenging the assumption of rational economic actors, medicine, improving patient decision-making and risk communication, public policy, designing interventions to nudge people toward better choices. Ultimately, Thinking Fast and Slow offers a profound message. We are all flawed decision-makers, but by recognizing the limitations of our two minds, we can strive for greater rationality and improve our well-being. Outro. Daniel Kahneman's Thinking Fast and Slow is a monumental work that provides invaluable insights into the complexities of the human mind. I hope this detailed summary has illuminated the key concepts. If you found this video informative, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel for more thought-provoking content, and add that notification bell to stay updated.